absolute nonsense in remarks to the World Economic Forum.
My administration has taken action to abolish all discriminatory diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense. And these are policies that were absolute nonsense throughout the government and the private sector. With the recent yet somewhat unexpected great Supreme Court decision just made, America will once again become a merit-based country.
Joining me now is Rob Shriver, Senior Advisor of Democracy Forward. He is the immediate past acting director for the Office of Personnel Management under President Biden. I always chuckle a little bit when he says merit-based system, given that he was a host of a television show who is now the president, and most of his cabinet are also television show people with no experience and no qualifications. But I digress. Let's talk about some of these orders. So we were just talking about it before the break. Let's just bring it on camera. This is what Project 2025 entailed, right?
It certainly is, Joy. They telegraphed that this was what they were going to do. They have an agenda here to drive out from the federal government the career experts who Americans depend on to deliver critical services, to block the agencies from backfilling them with other career folks, and instead to surge in political appointees who are loyal to the president.
Right, and so, you know, there are civil service protections theoretically, but they're getting around them in very interesting ways. They're saying, well, we're going to reassign people to maybe jobs that are not so attractive. They're saying everyone come back to work. Maybe people are in Kansas or in some other place where it's not practical. Maybe they'll quit on their own. And then there's this no snitching policy, essentially saying we're getting rid of DEI, and if somehow there's secret DEI going on in your department and you don't literally snitch on your coworkers who are accidentally hiring black people or veterans or women, then you're in trouble, because obviously they want to fill these positions with their friends, not career civil servants.
Yeah, I think that turning federal employees against one another, particularly during a transition when there's a lot of change, no matter what, is particularly vile. And I think we should talk a little bit about what these mysterious DEI policies are that the new president is talking about. When we were working in my former agency on DEI, you know what we focused on, Joy? Is we focused on opening up internship opportunities instead of just from people in four-year schools, people who go to community colleges or trade schools. We wanted to open those opportunities for them. That was one of our DEI policies. And you know what else we did, Joy? We wanted to make sure that those interns got paid. Because I don't know about you, but when I was going to college or law school, I was washing dishes, I was mowing lawns in the summers. I couldn't afford one of those fancy unpaid internships.
Same.
Well, that's a barrier to folks, right? To folks like all over the country, not just people of color, although certainly people of color, but people that live in small towns or rural communities. Those were the types of policies we were advancing.
Right, and I think that people on the right have decided DEI just means black people having jobs. So a black people has job, black person is DEI. That's what they've decided. But DEI really is, as you said, it isn't a quota for hiring lots of black people. It is recruitment. It's saying, let's also go to HBCUs and see if maybe those students might want some of the things Harvard kids get. You know, just the recruitment. Or saying these people are veterans who fought in the Iraq War. It's difficult for them to find employment. Hey, let's recruit among them and see if they might want these jobs, right? DEI is not a quota of black people. It's getting diverse groups of people of all races and all over the country.
You're absolutely right. There are long-time laws on the books regarding the civil service that have prohibited affirmative action quotas. So we've never had that in the federal government. But what you do have to do, like you said, is look at who you're recruiting. Look at what those applicant pools look like. You want to make sure that you have America represented in those applicant pools, so they at least then stand a shot to go through and show that they're qualified. Because let me tell you, Joy, the people that get through that federal job application process and get hired, they're qualified for those jobs.
Yeah, and they're difficult jobs. Is there any recourse? You know, I've had a bunch of people ask me this today. If people are being cashiered out of their jobs, or if they got those letters saying, hey, you were offered a job, you're supposed to start in February, it's now rescinded. They have obviously no recourse. They're just not going to get the job. But if people are already in these civil service jobs, do they have any recourse?
They do. And I really want folks to know that there are people out there and organizations out there fighting for them, like my organization, Democracy Forward, and we have a civil civilservicestrong.org website where those federal employees can go and get resources. And it's really important that they know that there are civil service protections in place. They were strengthened under the Biden administration. And these actions that this administration has taken, I think that there's a lot of them that are legally questionable, and I think they're going to be tested in the courts.
So there will be lawsuits to try to protect these folks' jobs?
There are already lawsuits, and there will be more, yes.
Rob Shriver, thank you very much. Appreciate what you're doing, because people are going to wake up really surprised when basic functions of government don't work, because instead of a civil servant that knows what they're doing, it's some person that just loves MAGA that doesn't even know the job.